and welcome. Today I am very excited to be taking a full look at the Hydrostrike Stratus Pro. This full auto behemoth of a gel blaster is claiming 200 feet per second, and on the box we see that it's going to come with 10,000 glow-in-the-dark gel rounds, and we also see the updated version of the Pulsar Pro. I haven't seen this new version in person, but it's cool to see it displayed on this box. We also see that it is claiming up to 10 rounds a second, which is a higher claim than the Stratos or the Pulsar Pro made. So this thing could be really impressive. Let's crack it open and see what you get in the box. In the box, of course, we get the Stratus Pro itself, and I gotta say, I'm really liking this paint scheme. We also get the 1200 round drum, the front carry handle, full eye protection, the rechargeable battery with the charging cord, 20 of these, which are the 500 round packs of glow-in-the-dark gel rounds. This funnel, which you do have to connect together, but once it is connected, it will help you load your rounds into your drum. And of course, the instructions. Included is of course that rechargeable battery, and the battery door is right up here. If you haven't seen my previous videos and are not familiar, you connect the yellow XT30s. The white cord right here is used when charging. Now let's go over the Stratus Pro. First off, I was a little surprised by this, but there are no tactical rails or sling mounts on the blaster. This thing would definitely benefit from having a couple sling mounts. Right down here, of course, we have the 1200 round drum. Now this is really cool because you can use this drum in the Pulsar and the Stratos, and you can use those magazines in this blaster. I love seeing that cross compatibility. To remove this magazine from the blaster, the magazine release is on the bottom. You simply push it and pull the mag out. To load rounds into the drum, you pull this panel back, and assuming you don't want to mess, use the funnel and put your rounds in very simply. Up on the top of the blaster, we of course do have this carry handle. It is actually removable, so you can push this button and pull to the right. As you can see, we also have this grip under here, so they're giving you that option. Now I will say this is a tad bit uncomfortable and it doesn't have any kind of swiveling, so I would have liked to see a little bit more for a $100 blaster. However, it is okay. On the left side of the blaster, we do have our safety switch, or on-off switch. In the rear position, it is safe and will not fire, and in the forward position, you are ready to go. The Stratus Pro is of course an electric springer, just like the Pulsar or Stratos. So you might be wondering why there is this rev trigger thing present right here. This is part of the not 100% necessary to be practical, but extremely fun features of the blaster. You have to hold down this switch before you pull the main trigger, and when you do, the barrel rotates, and it's super cool. Now that we've gotten familiar with the Stratus Pro, I'm going to load it up. Let's go outside, and I'm going to put it over the chronograph. Loaded up, I have the standard green rounds. The box is claiming 200. Let's see what it's getting. 151, 191, 184, 182, 195, 128, 200, 153, and 129. So while those numbers are not terrible, I do think the box is being a little bit generous with that 200 FPS claim. And because I know this is going to be a question, yes, my battery was fully charged, and yes, my rounds were fully hydrated. Now let's fire some shots downrange to get an idea for rate of fire. Yeah, that is pretty fun, and the rate of fire seems lickety-split. Now let's see it firing in the dark, and then we're going to go back inside, and I'm going to wrap up my final thoughts. So what are my final thoughts on the Hydrostrike Stratus Pro? Now I did empty the rest of this 1200 round drum, and I will say my overall experience is very positive. The combination of this juggernaut style hold with the rotating barrel and the large drum just make it a great experience. I will say I was actually disappointed that we weren't hitting the box claim of 200 feet per second. I mean, it will hit 200 occasionally, but I was expecting to be blown away like I was with the Stratos. That is probably my expectations just getting in the way. However, it should definitely at least hit the box claim. Also, I don't really have a way of measuring this, but I don't think the rate of fire is that much better than the Stratos. Honestly, to me personally, the Stratos just felt like a faster blaster. I do really want to compliment the aesthetics of this thing because just the overall look is amazing. Not just the overall silhouette, but also this paint job. It is just super cool. It's seriously one of my favorite looking gel blasters right now. So who would I recommend this blaster to, and why would you buy it? While this blaster is technically a powerhouse with this giant drum and the high rate of fire, it is still very gimmicky. I mean, it has this unnecessary rotating barrel when it really just has to be that big. And considering the size of this blaster, it's not nearly as big as something like the Mastodon. This silhouette really isn't as practical as just having a standard grip. So clearly it's trying to be a very fun blaster, which it is. So if you see this thing and you really like the idea of the high capacity and the rotating barrel and the high rate of fire, I mean, this thing is pretty cool. But if you lean more into being practical or want a more traditional blaster, I would avoid this blaster and instead check out the Stratos. The Stratos is set up much more traditionally with an adjustable stock, select fire, very comfortable ergonomics overall, and it gets 250 feet per second. With an insanely high rate of fire. Like I said, to me it seems like the faster blaster. And as far as pricing in the US, this goes for around $70 and this goes for around $100. So the Stratos is obviously more expensive and definitely more novel. Like I said earlier, the drums are actually compatible. So I really hope they sell this thing separately because this gives you the incredibly high capacity that the Stratos ships with, but you get the more traditional silhouette. And for anyone who cares, this is how the Stratos looks with the Stratos magazine. So overall, I really do like the Stratus Pro. It is an absolute blast to use. It is very novelty, so I know not everybody is going to want this blaster. But if you don't really care for the rotating barrel, I would definitely recommend going with the Stratos. Thank you very much for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts on this blaster. Have a good one, and happy blasting.